All right, welcome into the tutorial, everybody. My name is Erin, obviously with erinbunpaints. But yeah, nice to meet everybody. Welcome into all 130 of you. My gosh, lots of people here today. Welcome in. Phew. Today I'll be teaching you step by step how to recreate this phoenix painting, which you see beside. This is a digital version, so you can see my mouse moving around, and eventually I will switch to this view so that you can see a digital version, and eventually my blank canvas, actually. I'm not going to keep the original here. Oh, what is that? There's something on my canvas. There we go. I will have a blank canvas here, so you can actually watch me recreate it step by step with you, okay? So that's the whole idea. I paint along with you, you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'll verbally describe what I'm doing as well, and then that way everyone can follow along. Even if you've never painted before or are not familiar with painting, this should be good for you, because I'll go nice and slow explaining everything and answering questions as you like. So feel free to pop questions in the chat as we go along. For anyone new to Twitch, if you have any questions about Twitch, let us know. If you're here watching, then you've made it. You don't really need to do anything else. You can, of course, create an account if you want to chat. You can see everyone chatting has created accounts. They are free to create. If you want to follow me, that's an option too. There's a little follow button. That way you're notified whenever I'm online, because I stream, you know, throughout the week when I'm not teaching tutorials too. So if you want to just watch some fun painting and have a nice chat with some people, keep me on in the background to keep you company, yeah, you can do that too. So feel free to follow me if you have an account. But otherwise, yeah, just enjoy the show. Even if you don't have an account, I thank you for being here. It's so nice to have everybody here watching along and painting along. The supplies today are the same as usual. I keep them consistent with every single tutorial. The colors I use are actually just the 4 of the 5 paint colors. So instead of blue, we're not using blue. We're just using red, yellow, black, and white today. All acrylic paints. I'm using the same 3 paint brushes that I usually use. So we have these 3 here. We have a large flat brush, a medium round brush, and a small round brush. As always, those are customizable, so if you have different brushes, you can definitely use those. I just recommend having some sort of variety of brushes. A cup of paint water is good to have, so if you don't have paint water, I would make sure you get a little cup of that right now. Maybe an apron or something else to wear that you don't mind getting paint on. Thank you again, Terry, as always, for the apron. And those are really all the supplies you need. And of course, a paint palette. Today I'm using Volcano Plate 2.0. This is a brand new Volcano Plate that we're going to load up starting today. We split our 5-year Volcano Plate on Saturday, for those who didn't see. So we're starting a brand new one today. Has the date on it and everything. So it's an iconic moment today to pair with the Phoenix, like starting anew, rising up, you know, we're starting the new Volcano Plate. And then otherwise, if you want to check me out on other social medias, if you want to see all of my past tutorial painting designs on Instagram, you can see those. So instagram.com/erinbunpaints. Facebook is a good place to follow me. I'm sure a lot of you already follow me on Facebook just to keep track of when I'm going live. I post my schedule there and events. That's facebook.com/erinbunpaints. And then YouTube as well. YouTube is where I post these tutorials after they're finished. So if you ever miss any or you need to go back and check out something, youtube.com/erinbunpaints is where to go. It's erinbunpaints everywhere, so I just keep repeating it anyway. Piccolo, thank you for following and welcome in. And that's my spiel. So I'll do a little toast, I'll catch up on comments, and then we can officially start painting. Alrighty, let's start. We're caught up on comments. Feel free to keep throwing comments in there, questions, and I will keep catching up, but I like to try and prioritize the steps first. So here we go. So here's my canvas. Again, I'll paint right along with you. The first thing we do is just the background. And the background's really nice because we can really take our time on it. We can just kind of work from one side to the other or one corner to the other. It doesn't really matter where you start. I'm personally going to start in the bottom left corner. You can see in my design, I liked the idea of making it maybe a little bit darker down here and then getting a little bit lighter, kind of adding some light spots as I go. So we're going to be doing a lot of wet on wet blending. So while we can work slow across the canvas, you'll just need to work fast at blending. So as we add different shades of gray and white and things like that, you'll just need to make sure you're constantly kind of adding piece by piece so that you can keep softly blending them into each other. But otherwise, you can kind of go as slow as you want in terms of how far into the canvas you're going. You'll kind of see as I go how that makes sense there. But yeah, first we're going to start off with just black and white. If you want to change the background, totally fine. Someone was just asking about blue, for example. That would really pump it up to do some blue in the background, but I'm going to stick with my original here. Destiny, thank you for the follow. Nice to see you back. Thanks for the official follow. And Robin, I didn't shout you out. Thank you very much for the follow. So I'm going to add some white to my plate. This is iconic, guys. This is the first pour of Volcano Plate 2.0. I'm adding white and I'll be adding some black. Nice big blob of white. I think that's appropriate because that's the most used color for sure. And I'm using lots of paint because I need to cover up this whole canvas, right? So I would pour lots and then that way you have lots to pull from. There it is. It's the start. He is born! Volcano Plate 2.0. Just going to add some black. Oh, it's such a special moment. My little boy's already growing up. And I'm going to use my large flat brush. I'm going to dip it into my water, dab on my paper towel, and I'm mixing together black and white. So I'm starting with more of a dark gray. Again, you can see I started a little darker in that bottom left corner. So I'm mixing maybe half-half, I would say, into a nice dark gray, and I'll lighten it up as I go. Know how to make a nice blue teal color wild berry. So I would mix blue and white together with a tiny bit of yellow. That'll make it a nice teal color. Hello again, you're online again. Yeah, I went offline for a couple hours, but on Fridays I stream twice. I do a tutorial at night, so you're just in the middle of a step-by-step tutorial. Welcome in. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Yeah, you should finish that Death Star. You've talked about it a few times now. That'd be cool to see all done. Been playing with camera. Oh, yeah. Alright, so what I'm going to do again, starting in bottom left, I kind of do this crisscross motion. I'm going to be doing this a lot. So I like the flat end of the brush, the nice wide end of the brush. I'll bring this nice and close actually. I go back, forth, back, forth. So nice small strokes, kind of diagonal, all crisscrossing on top of one another. It looks like a big dark spot for now, but the idea is I'm going to add some of this color on here, just this one shade, really darken it up. And even though it turns into a blob, I'm still doing nice little small strokes like this so you can see all the ridges. See all that texture there? I love the texture of the background, and you obtain that by doing lots of little strokes. So I'm going to move it maybe a little further in. You can touch up the edges if you want, like wrap around the sides as well. That way you kind of extend the whole painting around. Just going to grab a little bit more, I think. That's some texture. Charles, thank you for the follow and welcome in. Doing a tutorial right now. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so I've got like a big dark spot. Looks kind of dark and scary, but we'll soften it up. So when I'm happy with the amount of dark gray I have, just however much you want, you can start small, start big, whatever you feel. Just going to take the same brush. I'm going to go back to Volcano Plate here. I'm going to start mixing a lighter gray color, because I want to start lightening it up as I go. It can be significantly lighter, it can be just a little bit lighter, it doesn't matter as long as it's different from your original. So that's a lot lighter there. Now what I can do is I can start crisscrossing kind of around the dark spot. And also I want to start crisscrossing into the dark spot. And see what happens is it starts to blend in. We don't have two distinct sections. We kind of have this nice in-between now. So nice close-up here you can see. Back and forth, and I'm stroking inside of the dark area. So now I'm getting all this kind of in-between gray. It's not quite the light, it's not quite the dark, it's in-between. Because your brush is picking up both colors and kind of mixing them around, moving them around. So the more you stroke on top, the more it's going to blend. The more it's going to combine into a new color. If you want to just stack on some color on top to get some nice bold strokes, you can just literally stick those on top and leave them alone. If you start to stroke on top, they will start to disappear. So I kind of do a bit of both. I like to stroke to blend. I like to stroke to just add a couple little brush strokes and then get some more texture in there. But that's kind of the idea. We're just continuing to add around these edges and extending this gray into a new lighter gray. So just adding more to my brush. I'm going to keep moving out a little further into the canvas and continuing to blend. So I'm starting to get kind of pockets. See, I kind of have, it's not distinct areas. It's not like a blob of the dark gray anymore. It's like a pocket of dark gray, a pocket of lighter gray, pockets. You know, lots of variety. I'm washing off my brush. You can wash your brush off at any time. If you feel like it's getting a little too pent up with like the darker gray, for example, you might want to wash it off just to start a little cleaner. Grab some lighter gray, stroke that on top. Because that's what tends to happen. The dark tends to kind of try and overtake the light, and we want to make sure that we have some nice light grays in there. So you can just wash your brush off at any time, reload with a lighter gray, and continue stroking. You can see now I have some clean light gray going on there until I start to blend and then pick up some darker gray. You can see I'm still doing those back and forth strokes. I might go a little quick because I have done these strokes before. Really like brushing quickly, but you can go nice and slow, however fast or slow you want. I'm leaving lots of time for this background just to play around with it so you can really take your time. Don't worry about rushing through it. And always remember, you can re-add paint. You can see I'm trying to extend into more areas that I haven't touched, but if you need to go back to re-add any paint, you always can. You can always take some lighter gray, for example, stick it on top. If you need to break up any areas or add more texture, take darker gray, stick it on top. You can see the more strokes you add, the more textured it looks, so you can always just go back and keep adding. All right, so that was a big spiel, but I'll kind of keep walking you through as I go. Nothing really changes other than the shades of gray as I go, but if anyone has questions, just throw them in the chat and I will continue to answer. But I know that was a longer spiel, so let me see. Destiny, I just looked at the button and was like, how am I not even following it? Makes no sense. That's okay, it happens. I have many people on Twitch, Destiny, who I watch stream many, many times. And then finally was like, oh, I don't get notifications for this person. I just kind of pop in and realize when they're on. And it's because I never followed them. So it's okay. I don't take it personally. I did it all the time with others too. And then it was embarrassing because I'd be watching them for over a month and it's like, Erin just followed. And I was like, oh dear. Just hitting the follow button now. Anyway, I'm still glad you're here. Either way works. A mop brush. I've actually never heard of that, Macy. Is it just a nice big brush? A mop brush. Do you mean a literal mop? I'm just kidding. I don't know what a mop brush is. If you want to describe the shape and size, I can tell you, but I'm just using anything kind of large and flat. So if it's kind of flat in any way, even if it's a medium-sized brush, that would still be good, I think. You can really use anything for texture, but I like kind of the crisscrossing motions, and that's used with the flat brush, so. Just bought, oh, Gray knows what it is, a mop brush. I can't wait to use it. What is it like? Ivy, I can't get to see you. I just hear you and the screen is frozen. Oh no, try refreshing. It might be your internet. It might be kind of cutting in and out, or the frame rate might be low. I'm not sure. Yeah, try refreshing. Sorry about that, Ive. Has something another stream. I have to change browser. Oh, great. Thank you. Try browser change. Good idea, Gray. It's happened to me. Restart my computer. Cool, cool, cool. H-Chap, welcome in. Nice to see you. How have you been? I did and I love it. Yay. Yeah, I didn't know it was coming today. The Rebel. Ras, welcome in. How's it going? I like your little hello emote. Greetings. Exactly what just happened for me. Yep, that's okay. No judgments, no judgments. Yeah, I was so embarrassed when it happened. Like, oh, I thought I was following you. Did Twitch unfollow me? I don't know. No. It's just something I forgot, especially at the start when I didn't know that was kind of a thing to follow people. I was just like, oh, I'll just check when you're online, I guess, or follow your schedule, you know? I would check people's schedules and just be like, all right, I'll go on around 3 when they're on. Big poofy brush. Oh, cool. I think those are good for, is it like a round, like a big makeup brush, Macy? Because if it's like that might not be good for, if it's the one I'm imagining, it might not be good for the texture background, but it would give you a beautiful blended background. I think I know what you're talking about. If it's one I'm imagining, I've seen it used for beautiful blending to really soften up everything. So, that could be a kind of a change you do. Blending. Oh, there it goes. Yep, Gray knows. I watched a lot of Windsor and Noon videos on them. Cool. Yeah, if it looks like, what are those called? There's a certain name for the makeup brush, and it's not that, it's something else. But I've seen, yeah, I've seen people do a lot of beautiful blending with what appears to be a makeup brush. I'm like, oh, I should just use my makeup brushes, apparently. And I've wanted to look into getting one, because it looks so, so cool. Mini old-fashioned ship mop. Oh. One that's super soft. Bob Ross's hair at the end of a stick. Oh my gosh. I might have to look this up. Like, it would be something I use for foundation. Yeah, it is. It is exactly what I'm thinking of, now that I see it. Okay. Interesting. Not getting ready for paint tonight, but I think I'll follow on this tutorial tomorrow. Sounds good. Do you upload tutorials on YouTube? Watch on stream. On YouTube, it takes a little bit of time. So if you're anxious to do it tomorrow, you can just come back here and watch the VOD Destiny. That's no problem. I usually post my YouTube videos about a week after. I haven't posted the beach one, for example, but it is uploaded. I just need to like fix all the information in the about section. So that should be up in the next day or so. But yeah. They all go to YouTube eventually, just not instantly. So yeah, come back to the VOD if you like. See how that's all happening? So what I'm doing too is I'm continuing to make this lighter. You can see how I'm getting progressively lighter, but continuing the exact same process, just hitting those edges, trying to work at a speed that allows me to work with the wet acrylic paint. Because again, this is all wet on wet blending. And acrylic paint dries in like a 5 to 10 minute time frame, depending on the light that you have on it. If you have a direct light, it might dry a little quicker. So you might have to work a little faster, but I find just looking at the edge and kind of working around the edge, that gives you enough time to keep going. And again, you can always re-add paint if anything's too dry. YouTube, thank you very much, Gray, for answering. Pretty much a makeup brush. Everyone's confirming. Thanks, guys. Using it flat though, blending. Okay, cool, cool. Different tabs will appear. Thank you, Gray. Thanks for that explanation. Big round, yeah, it's like a blush brush, exactly. I would use it for foundation, but yeah, it does just look like a big blush brush, essentially. Elvin has a makeup brush for blending. I should just use that. See Pretty, thank you for the follow and welcome in. Doing a tutorial right now. If you have any questions, just let me know. You're also welcome to just chat if you're not following along. That's cool too. I know how to watch past streams. Thank you. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, the version on YouTube is just edited down a little bit, Destiny. I don't go in and edit throughout the tutorial. It's all raw footage so that you can really take your time. I used to do that. I did that once or twice, and people were saying they liked keeping the raw footage because it was proper timing, right? Like, even though I'm chatting somewhat through and it's kind of like downtime here and there, it was appropriate because it allowed them to actually follow along versus pausing the video. So that's why I chose to keep doing raw footage. But I edit out the very start of the video when I'm literally just chatting for that first half hour, and then I edit out the end when sometimes I'm chatting afterwards. So you get kind of just the tutorial part. You get the introduction, straight into painting, and then outro. Want a mop brush? My supplies never use them. That's what I do. You'll use the mop brush eventually, I'm sure. Oh yeah, there's tons on YouTube, Destiny, too. That's the other thing. You might find something you like better that's, like, available now. Exactly. Editing out of the Twitch. Exactly. Hi, everyone. Baguette, welcome back. Hope you're all doing good. I'm doing good, thanks. Hope you're good, too. Hope you're having a nice evening. I have a lamp with an LED bulb that clamps the top of my canvas. LED bulb never helps lower the heat problem. That's good. That's good to know. My new light helps with the heat problem. Thank you again for the light, everybody. You don't understand. That other light was so hot on this canvas that it was always causing problems with things drying too quickly. And you can see I'm still blending here. This is amazing. So thank you again. The soft light is a lot better. And yeah, see Pretty, welcome in. Welcome to the chat. Maybe you're following along painting, maybe not, but either way, you can feel free to watch along and learn, ask any questions. You can just chat with the chat if you want. There's a nice big group here tonight on a Friday night. So yeah, do as you please. If you do any art, let us know. So you don't always need to go progressively lighter. You can go back to doing some dark colors, by the way. So if you want, you can start mixing some medium grays. You can see putting that on the other side of some light colors, just blending them in the same way. Just little bits of paint at a time. You don't need to slop on the paint. That's the other thing. You don't need to blob it on or anything. Just kind of like softly using what's on the canvas and moving it around is a good way to put it. So I just kind of apply the paint, get rid of most of it from my brush, and then I just use the brush to blend. So I'm not really adding paint. I'm just kind of moving it around at this point. Just softly, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Continuing upwards. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, so let's go to a darker color again. So I'm just continuously mixing a little more black, a little more white, going back and forth And that's how you get kind of the pockets. It makes it look like there's little splotches and pockets everywhere rather than a consistent gradient. But a consistent gradient would be nice too, especially those who prefer a lot of like blended looks over texture. Totally do that. If I go darker though, when I start to get further up, I kind of keep them in smaller little pockets. I like the word pockets apparently. So yeah, you can see a small little dark area. I'm gonna immediately switch to a light gray. Gray, you're all over this painting. You're the star of the show today. And I'm just gonna surround it with some light gray so it kind of blends out a little softer very quickly. See that? And then I start to get a little lighter again. Shay is here! Big crowd for the Phoenix. So exciting. Yeah! Welcome in, Shay. Yeah, it's very exciting. Nice big crowds for Toots recently. How's it going your evening now? 765? I would say it's evening. You're done work anyway. It's Friday night for you. Do you have any plans? What's up? I see Lamp in Flying Socks Quiz comment. All I can think of was I love Lamp. Lamp. I have Lamp with LED. I love it. Whee! Just checked your YouTube. Guess I already left you a follow there. That's why it was so weird I saw I wasn't following here. Oh, interesting. So you're subbed to YouTube. Yeah, that's how it goes. It's alright. You can't follow everywhere. Sometimes there's a button miss. That's totally fine. Again, I don't take it personally. How dare you, Destiny? How dare you? So again, here's an example again where I'm just going on top. There's a little bit of wetness still here, so I just grabbed a very light gray. I wanted a nice little light pocket in here, so I'm just brushing, allowing it to blend with the paint that's still wet, and now I have a lighter spot there. And there's no rhyme or reason as to why I'm putting certain things in certain spots. It's literally just to lighten up the whole area or darken up the whole area. I'm kind of looking at my screen to see the painting nice and pulled back. And then I'm just deciding if I want to make it lighter in total or darker in total, and just adding pockets of light or dark colors to help with that. That's all. Nothing specific though. Yay! Just logged off work, time to decompress. Haven't decided what that means. Breaking out paints just yet. Cool, cool. If that means breaking out paints, got it. Well, let me know if it does. You could bullet journal, you could game. Possibilities are endless on a Friday night. I do love Lamp though. It treats me well. And I'll repeat again, you can always re-add. So there might be times if you spend a little more time, like I was spending lots of time over here, it's getting a little sticky over here. So you can always re-add some color, just re-add a little bit of the color on top of the previous, just to kind of freshen it up a bit. And then that way blending will be a lot easier. If you try and blend into a dry color, it's going to get a little messy and scratchy looking. So I'm just constantly making sure that the paint that I'm blending into is a little bit wet. So if you need to re-add, that's an easy thing to do. Then you just add your new color, your new shade, and kind of blend it down. If it's wet, it'll blend nice and smooth. Woo! Or not really smooth because we want texture, either one. My molted look background looks awesome. I saw you post that in the art share. So you're ready to go, huh? Are you doing another background, Phoenix, or you're just like waiting for next steps at this point? You're prepared. Good evening. I just did paint my February cover page and oh wow, you're ahead. It's nice, but I'm tempted to try it again and maybe glue the new one over. Ooh, it's always tempting, isn't it? Yeah, you're like, I could do it better though. Let it sit maybe. You've got some time. You're very far ahead if you've got February done. You could let it sit and see if it grows on you. Make a new one on a separate piece of paper in the meantime. Decide if you like it better type thing. Just like anything else, I find letting it sit for a little bit helps you decide if you think it needs fixing or not, or if it needs to be altered. I think it'll grow on you though. What's your theme for February? I haven't even thought about February yet. I had tough enough time with January. which I haven't even posted about yet. I'm so far behind. Still posting all my my spreads at the start, so haven't even gotten into January on Insta yet. It's coming though. I've got all the photos ready. I was impatient and didn't let my layers dry, so it's got some fuzzy edges. I see, I see. Waiting for next steps. Cool, cool. Probably be like at least 10 more minutes so you can just relax and have some fun, Phoenix. I like to leave lots of time for this background because it is a lot of work. All that nice blending. Can we do an angel for my birthday? Yours is in March, right? I can consider an angel. I can't promise like right on your birthday or anything, Charlene, but I can consider that topic. We'll see. I think it was close to St. Patrick's Day, so we might want to do something related to that. But I'll think of that. Think of some designs and stuff. Or something like kind of heavenly would maybe be nice, like in the clouds perhaps. That would be really cool. Some nice soft cloud techniques. You could like add an angel to it, you know? That might be a nice idea. And yeah, I guess with this background too, obviously I should note everything's going to be a little bit different. So if anyone's following the exact pockets of shades that I'm doing, don't do that. Just go at your own pace. Don't worry about making a light pocket here, a light pocket here. You know, obviously you can kind of replicate the idea of getting kind of lighter and lighter, but it'll just be frustrating, I would say, if you just try and follow along exactly with what I'm doing. Because I'm going all over the place. You can see just my process is kind of just moving around doing whatever. So just keep that in mind. It does not have to be the exact same. It's always going to be a little bit different, right? See, I think mine looks a little dark right now, so I'm kind of splicing in some lighter spots. I'm going in places that are a little dry, so I'm just making sure I'm continuing to add more color around, and you can see that kind of helps blend it out a little bit. It's kind of a trap though, because once you start down here, for example, you kind of have to keep rising it up because you'll hit another dry spot, so just keep that in mind. It might be a little more work than just working in one spot, right? You're gonna have to keep extending it until it either blends in or, you know, looks, maybe it matches up with a different color and you can kind of stop there, but just keep that in mind. It might be a little more work than you think if you go back down. And of course, also keep in mind, like if you have one tiny spot that you don't like, maybe it's right here, maybe it's right here, check where the Phoenix is going, because the Phoenix might cover it, and then you might not have to fix anything. So if it's here, anywhere in here, anything like that's messy or you don't like, just don't worry about it. The Phoenix will be right on top of it. Forgot you asked about my theme. Oh, that's okay. I wanted to play with my new pastel watercolor palettes. It is Snowy Forest. Oh my gosh! I was thinking of doing like a forest type scene for February too. I saw a lot of cool inspo on Instagram that I screenshotted. It was like layers and layers of woods. I don't know if that's kind of what you went for too, Shay. But for some reason on Insta I saw a bunch of similar themes like that recently, and I was like, that's such a cute technique. Just like row of trees, row of trees, row of trees, kind of in different shades of the same color. More monochrome, I guess. So I was thinking of doing something like that. Not necessarily for February either, more just like, oh, I like that theme, I'll apply it eventually. But maybe for February just because I don't have any other ideas. That's what you did? Oh my gosh, maybe you saw the same stuff I did then. It's like crawling all over Insta right now. And Pinterest, I feel. I checked a couple spots and I was like, dang, that's like a similar theme. Bunch of people doing a similar one. Cool. And you use pastels for that. I probably would just use my markers and stuff. But I'm sure pastels was a good option. Hoping for unicorn toot soon. Oh yeah, I gotta get back on the unicorn. Thank you, Phoenix. That's it's a good call out. It's one I continue to say that I want to do as well, so thank you for reminding me. Unicorn. I just need to figure out like what the unicorn is doing, where the unicorn is, things like that. I want to get a good idea, a good picture in my mind. I need some references. If anyone wants to put unicorn references in Discord, I'd love that. Like styles and colors and things. My new painting goal is to take it slow. Waiting for things to dry is so important. I can't seem to get that through my head. Yeah, for watercolors, that's my problem. Obviously, because I'm so used to acrylics. I'm like, yeah, it's dry, right? Nope. Am I the only one that changes their paint water halfway through? I don't think so. I think I'm one of the only ones who doesn't, actually. I think I'm the abnormal one doing that. I just kind of grin and bear it. I just use a lot of paper towel and wipe off my brush a lot, and I find that works. But yeah, it would probably be easier for me to just change my water here and there, and I'm just stubborn. I don't want to get up and do it. I'd rather stay on camera here and chat with everybody, so I'm sure you're not the only one. Mm-hmm. I have to too. Yep, Deborah's there. Which black are you using? Mars black or what's the name? I have carbon black, actually. But honestly, in my experience, I don't know the differences between these guys. I don't see almost any difference if I were to get Mars black versus carbon black. But that is what I use if you're curious. No worries, Christy, if you gotta go to bed, that's okay. Nope, I change every time. There we go. Hard to dip, especially when there's lots of colors. I have 2 jars of water instead, Marion. That's like a big brain play. You don't need to get up. You're solving all solutions there. Don't get up from your chair. Also have new paint water. Excellent. That's funny. I use sometimes. Helps keep the colors in watercolor. There you go. Yeah, Ali says every time. There you go, Shannon. You're amongst friends. I knew it. I'm the only one. I'm the odd one out with that one. I knew it. Not a bad idea. Yeah, yeah. I know some artists too, and I've done that before too, because I have the same brushes. I have multiple of the same brushes. Sometimes I'll use different brushes for different colors, just if I'm switching between 2 elements quickly. And then that way I don't need to wash off the brush. I just say, oh, this brush has darker colors on it. This one has lighter colors. I don't need to worry as much about washing it off nice and clean. And I just kind of go boom, 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 boom between 2 brushes. So that's another solution. What about a forest with the stag and doe for Feb? That would be cute. Kind of like a more pinky, you know, bright forest. Different colors than usual. A little more mystical and magical. That's a good idea, Mish. Yeah, I will be looking for kind of February theme ideas. Obviously, Valentine's Day and stuff is that month. So I'm sure people will want to do more like romantic, kind of couple pink paintings, you know? So if anyone has ideas or references for those, I am down to hear them. As I am at all times in terms of themes and what people are looking to paint, so feel free. I'd love that. Yeah, Phoenix is into it. Oh, you're done painting? Well, excellent. So I'm going to leave at least a couple more minutes for the background just in case other people need to catch up, and I'm going to keep fiddling a little bit. You can see I just reached the edge of my painting, so I'm just going to have a look around, and yeah, I think I want to maybe lighten up some spots here. This is a big dark spot, so I'm just going to put some more light gray in there, for example. But again, don't feel like you need to copy as I'm doing. So if you, yeah, if you like what you have, you don't need to go back. You don't need to start putting in more color, but I'm just going to go aggressive with some lighter grays here and start to blend them into the dark to get rid of some of the darkness there. Again, I like my small pockets of the dark. I don't like it as big like that. So that's just personal preference. I have been using ivory black, but recently got Mars, and the Mars is way more opaque. Oh, really? Okay, that's interesting. Again, I haven't experimented that much. I have a Mars black in my bin over there, but it is a different brand, to be fair, so it's hard to compare to what I use. But yeah, even with the different brands, I didn't see much of a difference. But you said ivory black. Yeah, I've never used that, so interesting. Leave it for weeks or days before I change it. Really, Chrissy? Wow. Yeah, no worries, Christy. Deborah, yuck, I hate Valentine's Day. Oh no. I don't know if we'll be paint. What day is it? Hold on. We'll for sure do a tutorial around that day. I don't know what day it is. Sunday. We'll see. I'll definitely do the Friday, so you can skip the Friday if you hate it, Deborah. Don't worry. February won't all be Valentine's Day, don't you worry. I'm sure I'll do maybe like 2 themes or something. You can take a little break from painting or catch up on my YouTube if you want in that time. Yuck. You know me, I'm all mystical magical. Yeah. We'll get some like sparklies in there, some little like fairies and stuff. Not fairies, excuse me. Fireflies is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, fairy painting was requested too, honestly, so maybe that's a thing. Silhouettes would be nice, yes. See you, Christy, if you're going to bed, good night. Ivory's the one I was looking for. Oh, interesting, okay. Well, I would listen to Hoki Mama there. So it's a little bit transparent, I assume, yeah? The other one's more opaque. Brother's birthday is February. Oh yeah, you could paint him a nice birthday painting. Paintings as gifts are so nice. I can't hear you. Okay, hold on, I'll type. Volume is bottom left. I think everyone else can hear me, right? Ivory Black and the Mars Black were both Liquitex. Interesting. Mars Black I have in Liquitex. So maybe that's why I've never had problems. You said Mars was the better one. I chose right. Pigments must be different. Yeah, I think that's it. On Valentine's Day, you do some hearts. We'll do something. We'll do something themed for sure. But we also don't want the whole month to be Valentine's Day. It's also Family Day in February, at least in Canada. So we can do some sort of a more family-oriented painting. That would be nice. Lots of options. I can hear you. Thanks, Allie. Cool. Family Day, that sounds so wholesome. I don't think the US has that. Yeah, I mentioned that, I think, either today's stream or Wednesday's stream or something. I think it was today's. Yeah, I think you celebrate something on that day. It's essentially we didn't have a February holiday ever, and Family Day was implemented, I would say, sometime in the last 10 years all over Canada. It's just a Monday in February. It's somewhere like halfway through the month. Yeah, and it's literally just called Family Day. It's just like, spend time with your family. It's Family Day. It's a legitimate day off. I think it sounds pretty wholesome too. Might not get to spend it with family with COVID and all that, but at least it's a nice day free. People can relax a bit, maybe call their family and all that. But yeah, it's literally just Family Day. I painted my brother a picture of his favorite basketball player. Oh, nice, Leanne. Wow, I'm sure he really appreciated that. I've spent way too much time with my family. Mish says. Listen, some of us don't get to, okay? Some of us are all alone. Oh, I think it's a wholesome holiday, though. Today's stream, was it Phoenix? Okay, that's adorable. I think it is, too. And just that it's like a newer holiday. It was like, Canada, we need a holiday in February. Family Day was decided upon. I think that's the funniest. 15th, okay, yeah. It's usually like halfway through. I've heard of that. Quebec refused this because we have our national day. That's a day off. Right, yeah. I think provincially, everyone kind of has different names for it. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at my calendar. It says Islander Day for Prince Edward Island. Louis Riel Day for Manitoba. Nova Scotia Heritage Day. Family Day is Alberta, BC, New Brunswick, Ontario, Saskatchewan. Interesting. So it's just a holiday in general. But I guess it's only certain provinces for Family Day. Either way. Do Zoom call with family, the new deal. Exactly, it's 2021. Yep, I'll FaceTime or something. I believe it is, yeah. It's a national holiday, yeah. Provincial, excuse me, I keep saying national, but, oh, Macy says not for healthcare workers, but get paid extra. Yeah, time and a half or off, I think. Quebec is like meh, who needs family? Well, if you have a holiday already, I can see why. Feel like my blending here is brutal. Oh no! Wildberry, maybe continuing to add more paint. I'm not sure if maybe things are drying on you. I find that's when blending goes wrong, is when something's a little bit dry. So if you have anything that looks a little bit kind of rough looking rather than soft, try just adding a little more paint on top and keep brushing around and see if that helps. If you want to describe what you're seeing a little more, I can definitely try and help you out a little bit more. Yep, get paid, yep, time and a half, provincial, exactly. I don't know why I keep saying national. Probably because I thought it was until I looked it up. States would never do that. We get like 6 paid holidays, lol. I think you have something in February though, right? I don't know what it is, but I think it's something on the same day. Could be wrong. So again, I'm just messing around a little bit longer. I'm going to give everyone, let's say, 5 more minutes for the background, just to be sure we all have lots of time for it. If you're done, you can relax a little bit, enjoy what you've done. Touch up your edges if you want. Go all the way around your edges. Isn't Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Maybe that's what it is. I think it's drying quick, but then I wrecked by adding more paint. Okay, okay. It might be just that you need to continue Wildberry, because I was saying before, if you go back to a dry area and start to mess around, it'll look kind of funny on the outside because the outside isn't blended. So you just gotta keep blending till you hit an edge or until you get a color match. Like you can make the same color, use that to blend, and then that way you're blending on top of the old color and that'll help hide it, if that makes sense. So maybe that's what happens. I just find it's blotchy and not blended. Right. I think that's what's happening. If you add on top, here, I'll show you. I'll give you an example right here. Let's do the light color, actually. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit more again. So watch this. So this is a completely dry area. I'm gonna go on top like this. And even the shade's gonna look a little different because it's wet paint. It kind of dries a little differently. See, it looks different. You're like, oh, what's going on? And it's because the further you go out, you're still not blending it because it's not hitting any wet paint. See, it's just like, oh no, it's just continuing and continuing and continuing. So to stop that, you either have to go all the way to an edge or try and color match. So I'm going to make the nice dark gray that I see here to help blend that out. That's going to help hide that edge and make it a little bit softer. See, it helps kind of just cover it up a bit. And I just kind of look at each edge and I try and match a color. So I'm going to do the nice light gray here, maybe right around here. Oh, that's very light. 1 second. Use that to blend into the edge and blend out. And because I'm blending on top of a similar color, you don't have to blend it. You're just kind of stacking it on top and you're just focusing on blending out the edge of the new color. See, it's starting to disappear now because you're blending with other colors into it. Let's do like a medium gray over here. Blend in. And now that kind of disappears. Yeah, and you see it looks a little different. That's because it's wet. When paint is wet, it's going to look different than dry paint as well. So give it a chance as well. Let it dry down, see how it looks, and then consider that as well. It's always going to look a little funny though. Like it still looks funny even though I did all that blending. It's because when it's dry, it kind of turns matte, looks totally different. Add watered down paint and shift it around. There you go. That's a solution too. President's Day in February. Okay, President's Day. Gotcha. That's the right one. Okay. But you have to work. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. Martin Luther King Jr. is this coming Monday. Oh, okay. Okay. See, we don't have a January holiday either, except for New Year's, I guess. Thanks, tried that too. Felt like it was better before. Yeah, try that, Wildberry. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's because I have lots of experience. Painting is just a lot of practice, honestly. So I'm used to it. I understand what to do, and hopefully me showing you there helps a little bit, though. Yeah, I would say color matching on the edges and just blending out. Yeah, I wasn't sure either, Mish. My kids have Monday MLK Day off school just because we finished the semester. They're doing training. I see. Okay. Your strokes look strange. How do they look, Alvin? Are they, they're not like flat and kind of like square or rectangle. They look a little different. Maybe it's the way you're holding the brush. If you're using a larger flat brush, I try and use the wide edge back and then I flip it over and go the other way rather than using like the side. Long, okay. I have some long ones in here. It's really just about doing the small strokes, then going just little. Choo, 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 choo. You can go longer if you want. I think consistency is key. Like you could do them all long or all short and they would all look good. As long as they're consistent. I think it might look funny if you do some short and then super long. But both would look nice. Like both will give you nice texture. Just try doing like little ones. Like use your wrist maybe. Sometimes I keep on dry brushing till it disappears. Oh yeah, that makes sense too, Krithy. I like the wet on wet for this, but dry brushing could definitely work as well. Yeah, it's a lot of wrist action. You can go nice and slow too, but I just nice and quick sometimes. Has it been 5 minutes? I'll give like 1 or 2 more. I see lots of questions, so I just want to make sure we're all good and people have some time. Because honestly, it's really for this painting, just the background. We're going to sketch out the phoenix and then it's just layers of color on top. So we really do have a fair amount of time here. Texture, you got it. All that texture. It's just a textured painting. I mean, the whole background is quite literally just texture. And then the phoenix too, like when we add all these layers on top, it looks like very textured as well because all these little brush strokes on top. Love it. Mine keeps drying really fast because I have heavy body paints. Right, I can't water it down too much because I'm painting in my sketchbook. Don't want to rip the page. So some looks wispy. Wispy's kind of nice too though. I'll be doing some wispy strokes later on with the yellow. These are more like dry brushy wispy. But they can give a similar look, right? So as long as you like it, I would keep going on that same realm. That's interesting though. You can't water it down because of the sketchbook. That makes sense. Because that was going to be my first suggestion. I was like, oh, just stick some water in there. But you're right. You're right. You probably want to keep it thick. Question, how do you get that many screens? I have multiple cameras. Okay, with doing a Facebook page or a website. Yeah, Facebook page I can do. Website I haven't yet, but I'm trying to set that up. I didn't really dive into it quite yet, but I'm planning on doing that. So hopefully I can get something up. I'll show you when I'm done. Bit better. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that's all it is, Wildberry. It's a constant work in progress. Painting is constantly a work in progress, yes. And again, remember, maybe there's some spots that are more in the middle where the phoenix will be. You might not see those spots, so we'll see, we'll see. Use broad, long strokes. Looks more Argyle if you like that, if you can imagine that. I gotcha. Think I like it, still trying to decide. Okay. I think that's a good sign because usually it's like you're skeptical at the start and then it grows on you. Again, we'll add the phoenix on top and we will see. I think the shape is throwing me off being round with sharp edges. That could be it. That could be it too. It's kind of like the sharp crisscross on top of the round. That's very true. I wonder if the phoenix will help with the roundness too because it's kind of filling up. You can see if we were to like do a nice big circle. That might help. You know what I mean? It just might help fill up the space a little bit better and kind of vibe with the space a bit more. All these nice curve strokes as well. Yeah, I'm curious what you think of it at the end. When I do the website, sure, no worries. No worries, Shannon. Dog's bedtime. No problem, no problem. I think I'll wait one more minute and then we'll start sketching at the phoenix. And that'll be a nice slow process, so no rush, everybody. We'll just be using white to sketch it out to begin with, and then we'll fill it in with some color as we go. Just water, Macy. It's always just water. My little tumbler, I have it in here because if I use it in an open cup, I guarantee I will dip my brush in there. I'll, instead of going over here, I'll just go and then I'll wreck my water. So yeah, it's protected. It has a straw. I know that if I want to drink a drink, I'm using a straw and not my paint water. I'm not grabbing this and sipping it, so it's a lot of safety things for me. Me too, might be. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking, oh, Tay Dog, Cindy, what's up? Hello. Can't seem to get the video to come up. Oh, Anne, try refreshing. Hold on, I'll tag you. Try refreshing or using a different browser. There we go. I'm trying to create my Facebook page website. Okay. I'll try creating texture using circular motions. That, yeah, you could do like swirlies. It's the same idea using wet on wet, just kind of swirling your brush. Guess what? Jellyfish, what's up? I'm back and better than ever because I don't know where you live. However, I found out you were live. Yay! Every time I see him, like, do you know where I live yet? Welcome in, Jelly. It's really nice to see you. The sass I gave you. It's from Pat. I think Wookie remembers. I think that's why she's laughing. Yep. Mm-hmm. Using paper pad. Oh, are you, Domald? Didn't like the way brushstrokes look, so used a paper towel and dab. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Some people like to dab with paper towel, too. It kind of gives a little bit of a different look, but lots of blending with that, for sure. I remember it was hilarious. Yes, do you know where you live? That's the question. Yeah, I think a lot of people remember Jellyfish because I think when they heard me say that, a lot of eyes went on you and they're like, who are you? Why are you saying this? But it was just me misinterpreting, so I think a lot of people remember. I don't know. Pog. Oh, Cindy, how's your evening going? I just stashed away your painting. We need to talk about shipping if you want it shipped. I thought I just misread it, Jellyfish. I think it was totally on me when that happened. You were live, and I read it as where you live. Okay, saying where instead of were. Even just the wording, though, I think I mixed up some wording. It was great, yeah. Do you? I was like, oh. Well, that's concerning. Yeah, exactly, Hokie Mama. Everyone was like, who is this person? Get them out. Stalker in my mouth. Yeah, but they're not. Jellyfish is wholesome and lovely. All I know is Canada. Yeah, that's correct. It's okay. I think I'm getting out my gosh. Yes! To do this thing. Nice. Oh my gosh. That'll be so bright and vibrant too. Memorable to all people now. Yep, hope you're okay with that. You're the stalker who's not a stalker. They know you're not one anymore, but we almost thought. Just because of that. Yep. Will you be on the bus or under it? I remember reading it the way Jell intended and then laughing when Eric commented. Dang it. See, Jelly, it was me. I wanted my hands. Okay, we will talk about shipping. No worries. I got to, who else was that? K9 too. Yeah, I have a couple of you, so I'll make a trip to the post office very, very soon. Especially after the comment about stalkers right before. Yeah, we were talking about it too, I think. Stalking on social media. Yeah, it wasn't great timing. That's the other problem. We were talking about that. Then you came rolling in with that statement. I was like, oh no. Okay, everybody. Yeah, it should be more than enough time. We spent almost an hour just like having fun with the background. So we can start sketching and then we can just start layering all those colors on top. So what I've done now is I've grabbed a medium round brush. Actually, I'm gonna grab a different one because that one's kind of splitty. You can grab a tiny brush if you'd prefer, but for this, we don't need to be exact with our sketch. It's just a very, very rough sketch, and we're just using a little bit of white paint so that it's nice and transparent. You can kind of go over top with the colors. So whatever brush you're comfortable with. This will hold more paint. That's why I'm using the bigger brush, so I can do longer strokes and just go for longer without reloading. If you'd rather a small brush, though, totally fine. So I'm going to grab my white paint. And you don't need to load up the brush. I'm just kind of grabbing it on the side of my volcano plate and just kind of wiping it off a little bit. I'll be using the tip of the brush and just very lightly wisping away. So I'm going to start with the wings. I would say the very center of the phoenix is pretty much in the center of the painting, kind of like the neck area or maybe belly area is all right in the center. So if you want to start the wing maybe just above center, that would be good. I'm going to start with the right wing. So just a very flowy wing. It kind of comes up and over to the right. And we're going to start to do these very jagged feathers. So we kind of do a nice like spike coming up and out and then back in. Up and out, back in. And it gets taller each time. Up and out, back in. Until it just kind of falls off the page. You can see it just kind of falls right off the canvas. We don't need to worry about how it's ending. So just kind of a nice little zigzag coming up like this. Very loose. Again, we don't need it to be a nice harsh line or anything because we're going to be covering it up with all our color anyway. So if you need to kind of redo anything and just kind of wisp it on, you can just keep going over top and moving things around a bit. That's fine. So let's start with just that shape there. Yeah, you can see it doesn't quite reach the top right corner. It's like trying to reach up there. Maybe I'll make it a bit taller to match my original a bit better. So this is what I mean. Just keep altering as you go, right? Now it's a little taller. So I'm reaching way up, trying to get close to the top. In my mind, I was like, I know where she lives. We figured it out. Any Elenium fans? Elenium? Not sure what that is, Black Quartz. Maybe there are, though. Maybe there are people who do know. Got back just in time. Excellent, Shannon. We've just done the one part here, so I'm just giving a quick little minute. As she moves on back to the tutorial, feeling uncomfortable talking about her mistake, you're fine. K9, hi! Sorry for being late. That's okay, just got off work. Painting this at a later date. Oh, awesome! Yes, come hang out. Happy you're here, K9. I was gonna say, is it a band, Black Quartz? And I see you saying it's an EDM DJ. Oh, okay, Phoenix is a logo. Gotcha. Yeah, I've never heard. Listen to a little EDM, but not much. My background is heavy-bodied, but it'll work maybe. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. And especially with the sketch, I guess I should say this too. If anyone has a background that isn't completely dry and your sketch is kind of blending in a little bit, maybe it's looking a bit gray here and there, don't worry about that because this is just the sketch. As long as you can see where things are going, that's really the main goal here. We will only want the background to be dry when we start adding our nice colors on top. Quick Google of his logo, you'll see it. Cool. Yeah, I'll look that up later. All right, so we've fallen off the canvas on that top right. Now we just need to do the bottom of the wing. So we're kind of, we're doing more of these little spikes coming in and out. We're just kind of curving the other way. You can see, if you look at my mouse here, as I scroll on top, they swing out and to the right. So they go in and out, in and out. Very wispy, all the way back into where the body will eventually be. So I'm just gonna start a little further down from where I ended off on the canvas there, wisping kind of out and in, out and in, out and in. These spikes are kind of coming further and further to the left, so you can see they end further to the left, so they're angling down like this. If that's making sense. They end a little shorter, I guess. Out and in, out and in, out and in. And just ending anywhere below where you started. We'll fix up the body later. We can clean all that area up. We're just getting the nice big wing in there. So again, you can look at that if you want it a little bit larger, a little bit further down. You can just keep extending further down. Just keep altering as you like, right? It's your Phoenix. You can do whatever you want with it. And again, it can be very rough. Doesn't matter for now, as long as you can see general shapes. That's the main goal. And it's almost better to keep it softer because, again, if you use lots of paint, if you're really caking it on like this, it might actually show through a little bit. You might get a little bit of the ridges showing through once it dries, so I'm trying to keep it nice and flat and using just a little bit of paint. That'll help keep all the ridges very flat so you won't see anything through. That's one wing there. Didn't see you over there on the bun couch. Hey girl, hey! We've got to have multiple bun couches now. Can one couch fit all of us? Big room of couches. Phew! Just came and say hello. Oh, Lynn, hello! Happy Friday evening. Nice tutorial. Thank you! Thank you. Chilling like a villain. Doing lots of fun things. Good. Whee. Good evening for everybody. Yeah, Lynn, hope you're having a good Friday night. Did you finish your galaxy yet? A nice bun sectional sofa. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Multiple sections. Many, many sections. Very big sofa. Alright, so I'm just going to do pretty much the same thing on the other side. I would say it's, yeah, pretty much the exact same. You might want to just like alter a few things, like making a little wider top or making the wing a little bigger. Yeah, I will say that. I would make the wing maybe a tiny bit bigger because this wing is behind and this wing is in front. So because it's in front, it's going to be a little bit closer to us and maybe a little bit bigger. So I feel like I made it a little bigger and wider up here, for example, a little more flowy over here. See how wide it is versus here. So just minor differences, but similar idea. So I'd leave a little bit of a gap. So we have a little bit of a gap for the head and the body. So we'll start maybe here for this one. So we're just framing the middle. This time we're going to swoop kind of up and over to the left. Again, altering as you go if you need to move anything around. I was realizing I was very close to the edge of the canvas and I want to have more room, so I'm just going to move it over a bit. Make it like a taller wing. Yeah, and you can see I did less kind of the back and forth up here. I just did a larger, oops, that's a battery failure. 1 second. It's exhausted. Where'd it go? There it is. Give me 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be more than 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No! Like 15. There you go. There it is. It's back. Whew, I'm exhausted. All right, so yeah, I was saying it's a little bit taller without all the little spikes quite yet and all the feathers. I kind of did the spikes a little further up. So now I'm going to go down, up, down, up, down until it falls off the canvas. So it's a little smoother on the way up. Not finished the galaxy, looking at it, how to finish it. Cool, cool. No worries. I'm just curious whenever you're done. Big long distance hug for everyone. Big long distance hug back. Oh yes, the battery's always exhausted. We got more charging. Didn't leave enough room, so the wings are now going in the same direction. Going the same direction? Just to save room, you mean? You could always sketch again. That's the whole point, Hokimama. If you've done something that's like totally off at this point, just do more white lines to show yourself where you want to go, And you can splice in some gray and just cover her up. I would probably recommend trying that out if you don't like the way the wings are going. They're going the same direction. Of course, I'll show you. Excellent, excellent. I look forward to it. Okay, so I've fallen off the canvas on the left. Now I'm going to come a little further down, continue those back and forth motions. So I'm swinging down to the left and back in, down to the left, back in. Again, keeping everything angled this way, so all the spikes are getting kind of smaller or tighter in as we go. In, out, in. And same thing, we're just ending anywhere below where we started, so maybe about here is a goal. Out, in, out, in. So you're generally going at an angle like that. And again, I'm just looking at like how much space I have here. If I want to make it a little bigger, maybe I'll swing these a little further out. Just more room for lots of colors and feathers, right? And you can even alter as we add color. It's not necessary to get the sketch completely right, as long as you know. I just like to do the sketch right so I don't have to overthink it later. But if you kind of make mental notes to yourself, and you're like, okay, I know I just want to add more yellow here or more red here, you can always do that too. Some little small feathers in there. Nice big wings. See it too. Garfield, thank you for the follow and welcome in. Gonna roll with it. Alrighty, cool, cool. It could just be a different angle if two wings are going the same direction. I can't quite picture it, but definitely certain angles you could see it that way. This is more of like the wings are spread, you know? They could be going both up or something. Movie night question. What's that, Cindy? Go for it whenever you're ready. All right, I'm gonna do the tail now. Yeah, Cindy, go ahead and ask and I'll get to it in a second. So the tail, lots of spikes again. It's kind of like we're doing the bottom of the wings, just kind of starting thin and then getting wider down here. And again, very loose for now. So I'm just going to start anywhere in the bottom middle of my two wings where they're meeting. I'm gonna go out, back in, out, back in, out, back in. Kind of just curving as I go. So I start very tight. They're getting wider and wider and wider. You can see they don't need to be all the exact same like spikes. They don't need to curve the same way. They can kind of curve up rather than down. It's very flowy in the tail. Let's do the last one kind of out and in like that. And same thing on the other side, just opposite. Down and out, back in, down and out, back in. I start to do some different curves. So instead of curving down, I kind of curve upward. Just very loose too. I'm not trying to make it like a distinct shape all the way down. It's going to get very, very wide at the bottom. You can even add some kind of stray curves coming out. You can either add those now or later. It depends how you feel. If you want to kind of map that out now or just decide later you'll add some color. Just doing some more curves down there as if it's all splitting at the bottom. Just kind of demonstrating how it looks kind of closer to the end there with all the little wisps and stuff. It gets just very wispy, very loose down here. Nothing, it all doesn't have to be connected. It can be kind of disconnected a bit, so keep that in mind too. So that's the tail, nice and big. I especially like to extend it on the left because I feel like my phoenix is definitely kind of looking right, kind of going off to the right, so the tail kind of comes off to the left, so I kind of extend a little bit more that way. Let's see. Show is not my best. If appropriate, will someone be able to explain to me the scenes? I'm sure. Wood's got you. Perfect. I mean, can I have my own interpreter as the movie streams? Yeah, are you concerned? What's up? Did you look up like a summary and stuff and you're like, my mind is going to be boggled? That's the whole point. It's mind boggle movie night. It's the whole point. We're all going to be like, what? We can all discuss. Don't you worry. Sounds like Wood's got you though. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Oh, we shall see. Narrated. Are you down to do a whole narration? That movie's like 3 hours long, right? Please no. Oh man, we can only ask so much. Can we replay back? Jen, welcome in. Yes, you can. If you click my username right now, you will be brought to a video tab. You can click the video tab and you can click this video and actually see it right now. Otherwise, you can wait for it to be uploaded to YouTube. I upload everything to YouTube. The link is right there, actually. Super down to chat afterwards, though. I love hearing all your creative folks' thoughts on movies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the whole point of this weekend's movie list is, like, the conversation. I'm almost worried that we're only going to watch one movie because I think we're going to watch one and going to want to discuss it so much that it might take up a lot of time. But we'll just roll and see how it goes. That's the whole point. We want to discuss theories and thoughts and interpretations. Yeah. Tail looks too fat. I was thinking mine kind of does too, honestly. I was looking at mine. I'm not a super fan of it, but I think it's key, Wildberry, to wait until the color, because this is just the sketch. It might kind of look a little bit harsh. When we add some wisps and we add all the different lighter colors stacked on top, you might find that it looks a little bit thinner or just a little bit more like you were hoping. So give it a chance for now. And it's very easy to fix. If you don't like it, you could put some gray on top either right now or later. So if you really are confident you don't like it, just use some gray and kind of put that right on top. Get rid of those white lines, or you can just make note later to do that after the color. Either one works. Acrylic paint's great because you can stack it on top of each other once it's dry, as in all the different colors. Yeah. Oh, there's always hope. Yes, Wildberry, with acrylics, there's always hope. You can cover the whole thing and start again if you want on the same canvas. Yeah. Lynn, take care. Have a wonderful Friday night. Good weekend. Take care of your health. You too, Lynn. Stay safe. I know you are. You've got your curfews and stuff. But yeah, take care, you two. I'll see you another time. Zach, welcome in. Hello. How's your evening going? We've popped in yet again on another tutorial. I'm going to do the head now, everybody. So we have kind of the head, beak, kind of stomach area, you could say. Again, this will be very, very loose. We can get the details in there later, but even later, there's not a whole lot of details to it. So let's start with kind of, here, I'll circle here, like this spot right here. So kind of the back of the head. Again, very wispy, so I'm going to start at the bottom edge of the left wing, or the top edge, rather. Would it be the bottom or top? Bottom, top? It's like the inside top edge. My goodness. You can see where it is. I'm going to curve my brush. I'm going to curve my strokes kind of out like this, doing a couple little wispies as if we have some nice long, flowy feathers or hair coming off. Very fiery looking, like a big flame. Then we're going to curve kind of to the top of the head here, so doing kind of a curve down and over. That goes into a beak. So this might be a little hard to see, so I'm going to try and get some nice bright white just so you can really see. But you can also see the original. I'll actually zoom in. You can get a nice close-up look. There you go. So yeah, the beak is just kind of two curves followed by two more curves. So I do a upwards curve kind of coming out from the inside of the head and then outwards like this. I curve back in. Then I do a second one further down, curve out, back in. So they're curving the same way, they're just a little separated. So it's going caca, making a nice little noise. You have to be in by 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, wow, I thought it was 9. Good though, Lynn, yeah, you're safe at home, excellent. April, my 10-year-old is doing better than me. A budding artist? Wow. Jen, thank you for the official follow there. That's honestly so impressive. That's fun. I can't wait with the colors, April. I think that'll be really cool to see adding colors. Love your art, very beautiful. Thank you, Zach. I really appreciate it. Love your new technology. Yeah, me too, Lynn. Thank you. I'm very excited about it still. All right, so hopefully you can see that, the nice white beak there. Hopefully it's a little easier to see right here, if anything. And then we're just going to work down. So we have kind of this belly area. Just a nice big curve kind of down to the right and then coming back in towards the tail. Just kind of to map out now, you can see it's right inside the body, so very easy to change if we don't like it, but I'm starting at the bottom of the beak, coming out, down to the right, and swinging down to the left. Just a nice big belly curve. So later on we're going to highlight that, and then that way it makes it look like this wing is behind and this wing is in front. So that's why I like to kind of sketch that out now so I can kind of see where that is. It might be covered in a little bit, but we can bring it back later. And that's really all. I don't really sketch out a back area because it just kind of flows into the wing later. So it's really just the belly. I want to make sure I kind of know where it is. Well-fed phoenix. Look at that. Nice and round. Yay! If you want to add an eye just to give it a little personality right now, you can, but that will be covered up. There. That will be covered up. Okay, I'll give you a quick minute if you want to see the whole thing. I'm going to zoom out. Cool. And yeah, you can compare, contrast, add. I might put this wing a little higher. It looks a little low to me. So yeah, again, keep playing. You can keep playing with your sketch here until you think you've got it on the right track. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more. Nice and big. I really wanted to fill up like the whole canvas when I did this as much as possible. So even after the Phoenix sketch, when we fill it all in, I'm gonna add some wisps as well. You can see all these little swirlies and stuff. So more room to take up. Okay, I could keep doing this background forever. Gotta stop so it dries. I know, right? When I was creating this painting too, Shay, people were like, dang, I just like the background. Just like do a big piece with that background. I was like, okay. Because it's fun too. I love the blending. I could do that all day. It's like the blending plus the texture. You know, you're adding texture by blending. Oh, it's the best. It's very soothing. My ex-boyfriend was 17 when the movie came out. We went and watched it quite possibly affected. Then he tripped the entire time and snuck back in to watch the second time. We were together for 3 years, so I watched the movie many, many times. Still tripping circle items even his late 60s over it. Whoa, and I still don't know what the movie is about. Space oddity is what I call it. Hopefully we can bring you some light into what it's actually about, Cindy. That's really funny. Possibly affected. It'll be a good time. Memories. Yeah, just doing gouache. Prob best to background cover any lines I don't want showing now. Yes, Macy, that's a good suggestion. Yes, if anyone has white lines that they know they're not going to like, know that they're not going to be covering with color, you could do some gray right now to get rid of them. You could alternatively wait until the color's on, see how it looks, and then use the gray to cover up. The gray will cover up white or any of the other colors we're using. So if you like to plan ahead and get the sketch like really the way you want it, for sure, you can use a little bit of time to just crisscross some gray on top or just leave it alone. Either one works. Sketch, welcome in. How's it going? Really nice to see you. I watched your daughter's stream, just like lurking a little bit recently. Need a bathroom break, BRB? No worries, Allie. I think that was fine, Cindy. Yep. That's all good. You're funny. Thank you for being conscious of that. Yes, you're fine. The word possibly affected. Yep. I was like, okie dokie. It's all good. But yeah, Sketch, I hope you've been well. Let's leave one more minute just in case anybody's fixing up their sketch, and then we can get to this. Sketch, haha. We're doing a tutorial right now, Sketch. And just as a heads up, we're going to start with dark colors. So if anybody is looking to change up the color palette today, start with your darker colors. So I'll be starting with a nice kind of like deep dark red, for example. Just gonna pull the original over. I can see the colors a little better. Yeah, I'll be starting with a nice red. Honestly, in this one on the computer here, it looks a little darker than it is in real life. So if you want it darker, you can make it darker. But in my original, I'm gonna show you real quick to compare. It's actually just plain red. It's a lot brighter. I don't know what happened there. See how it's a little brighter? So you can choose how you like, you can customize, but I'm gonna try my best to stick to my original, so just using some plain red. But again, if you're changing colors, you can do like a dark blue to begin with, or a dark green, or a dark purple, and then just make it lighter or use lighter colors on top later. I often get stuck lurking watching my daughter. Yeah, it's 'cause Sketch I'm usually doing other things, and if I'm in the chat, I want to be very active in chat, so sometimes I'm just like, just don't say anything, and I just kind of watch. Welcome back. Now I'm distracted. No worries, Sketch. Scanning some documents for one of my sons, and I'm getting distracted watching Arthur Gain. Ah, yes. Yeah, he's one I lurk on too. Is he on right now? If you were watching him, I assume he is. Oops. Yeah, he's so talented. He's very soothing to watch too. He just finished. Okay, I was gonna say I didn't see him in my follows there, but that's okay. Annie, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Which one? I know arts, music, nice song names. Really nice guy. Yeah, very soothing, very kind and friendly. Yeah, just so talented too. Yeah, seems like it. Erin, you see the gray spot behind the left wing? I'm sorry you were covering that up. Which part? What? Gray spot behind the left wing. You're sad on covering this part up? Right wing. This one? You want it to stay? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. You like the darkness of it? I like it lighter, so I'm happy I'm covering it. So are you? Oh, thanks! I'm a nice guy. I like to think I'm a nice guy. Well, we still got a bit of darkness here, Cindy. It'll come through. All right, let's start. Let's start with our darkest colors first. So for me, that's just a plain red. So I'm using my medium round brush, my favorite brush. Just going to use plain red paint. I gotta add that here. It's just pretty and looks deep. Oh. Yeah, it is kind of standalone. I think that's maybe what's appealing about it. Excuse me, hello. You are clogged. So plain red paint. Now, red paint is sometimes a little bit transparent, oftentimes transparent, no matter like what brand and what quality of paint. I find red and yellow to be quite transparent. So I'm gonna show you. You might stroke on top and see a little bit of transparency through it, especially when you go on top of lighter grays and darker grays. If you want to fix that, you have two options. You can either mix a little bit of black in there or a little bit of white. The black, of course, will make your red a little bit darker, like a maroon. The white will make it more of like a very, very hot pink, but either of those colors will help with making it a little more opaque rather than transparent. So I would recommend even just the tiniest bit. You can still slam in a lot of red. It might change the pigment just a tiny bit, but it'll help with the transparency. So where am I putting this? You can kind of see on the painting itself, but I'm kind of sticking to the bottoms of all these areas. So I'm going along the bottom of the wings, for example. I'm kind of replicating that back and forth motion. Just trying to use the tip of the brush too. If you have a brush that's really loaded up with paint, very thick, I'd recommend just washing it off. Because sometimes after mixing, that's what happens. Your brush gets very, very loaded up with paint. Try and use just the tip of it. That way you can keep things kind of nice and wispy. See that difference there? And you can now have these nice little tips. So I'm starting just with kind of the bottom of the wing for now. I have lots of other spots to go, but for now, just the bottom of the wing. And I bring the red a little further in too. So rather than just outlining, you can see I kind of stroke up and into the phoenix wing. And you can see these don't have to be harsh and perfect. If you have little splits in your brush hairs, see that? How it's kind of all splitting a little bit? I actually love that. I think it makes it look a little more wispy. So yeah, you can see it. For example, you kind of go along the edges and just kind of flick them. It actually purposely makes that little technique there, making it all kind of split up. But it's still the general shape of the back and forth is there. That's why doing just background can speak to so many people. Crimson or deep red? Oh, I use bright red actually. I'd try crimson probably personally and then go for the deep red if you like. Great, were you in the bun bathroom when I came in? Hey, the bun bathroom. Nessa, yo, what's up, pretty? Thank you. How's your evening? I assume you're off work now, huh? Head to the bun kitchen. What do we have in the bun kitchen? Anything cool in the fridge? Oh, Peg, get out of here. Thank you for offering to be there for my friend. I'm sure he'll explain it well to you. Which brush? This is the medium round brush. You could really use any brush to make it wispy, but I really like this one. I'm able to use the very tip of it to make it nice and thin, while also pressing down harder if I want thicker strokes. So it's a nice brush with a nice variety, depending on how much pressure you use on it. So again, if you press harder, it'll be like a thicker stroke like that. If you just press very lightly, you can make nice thin strokes with the tip. Free for the weekend. Nice! The whole weekend. That's a great feeling. Good, good, good. We have leftover Indian food. Oh my gosh, no way. In the bun kitchen. Aquafina Reese cups. That's it. We need to restock, but those are some good items. You guys can have the Reese cups. I'll have the Indian food, okay? Reese cups, gross. Ugh. So you can see my white is kind of, you know, sticking out a little bit. I'm just not worried about it quite yet. I'll kind of leave it alone, see if I end up covering it. Otherwise, I will go back later and just use some gray to cover it up. That's okay. That's what happened on my original, too. I definitely had some white strokes that ended up sticking out a little bit too much. Very easy to cover later. Cat emergency, gonna see. No worries, Phoenix. We're just still adding our red, so you got some time. Nice and chill for now. Going all the way. So again, making sure we're bringing the red a little bit further in. Even if it gets covered, we want it kind of as a base a little bit. So kind of filling in those little back and forth areas and bringing it into the wing a bit. Grab them Reese's. Jalapeno kettle chips. Yum. Stop paying. Come here and say your opinion. Oh, Jesus. I know. I say that to get the people riled up, Shay, honestly. Because I know. I'm not the norm with that one. Listen, chocolate and peanut butter is fantastic. I just hate the Reese's version of it. I think their peanut butter's garbage. Sorry. I agree. It means more to us. Before for us. Exactly. You guys can have it, right? Have at it. Go ahead. Alright, once I've got the wings done, the next spot I go is kind of the belly and head area. You can see that's all nice and red, so you can just really cover that whole thing up. Again, you might have to cover up the eye. Might get a little messy with the beak, but try your best to keep the beak, you know, the same shape just by using the tip of the brush. You can always switch to a smaller brush if that's easier. You can see how that's coming through there. You can do a little wisp or two if you want, kind of coming up and out. So I'm trying to be nice and delicate with those wisps to keep them nice and thin looking. Again, tipped at the edge just by using a small amount of pressure. And otherwise, I'm just bringing that red down. So kind of filling out the belly again. We will highlight that later, but for now we're just adding all red. Kind of wisping in like this. Bone, thank you for the follow and welcome in. Got a nice red belly. So again, we will stack feathers on top later. So it looks very red for now, but we'll get some highlights on after. Sketch, gotta go. Thanks for your stream. No worries. Always bright the day. Good, good, good. I'm so glad, Sketch. Good luck with your streams too. Have a good evening. Minis are better than the big ones. Really? I have not tried. I have not experimented. I just know that I didn't like the regular Reese's, and I said, never again? You take chocolate off the little dry puck of PB in the cups, and then when the chocolate is melted, push through PB and sticks to the roof. Man, you have a whole process. Jazz, hello. I'm new to my newfound love of painting. That being said, I love your teaching method. Thank you. It's very helpful. My question is, my painting book tends to dry really fast, making it hard to blend. Would I do this with regular paint? Do I have any tips for using acrylic on a sketch pad? Yeah. So acrylic paint just naturally wants to dry very, very fast. Sometimes I mix a little bit of water into the paint, and I find that helps keep it a little more wet for longer. Jazz, there are also palettes that are called Stay Wet palettes that you can use for acrylic paint. If you're someone who wants to go a bit slower and keep your paint a little more wet and kind of, again, use that wet pad to keep kind of wetting your brush with the paint, that might help. But honestly, it's also kind of just a race to keep blending the paint as it's still dry because it's hard to keep it wet. I'm not very well rehearsed in mediums to keep the paint wet on the canvas, but I just know that on the palette you can add a little bit of water and stuff. There might be mediums though to keep it wet on the canvas. I'm just not quite sure, like things you can mix in and then that way it stays wet. Those are my quick suggestions. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask, Jazz. And thank you for your compliments. I want to try this tomorrow. Nice! I'm excited! Okay, everyone, I'm just going down into the tail now. So see how different that is? I just use some red, just plain. You can see how much it shows through. I'm going to mix a little black, a little white in there just to like darken it up and lighten it up a bit. Mix more red, and it's going to change it, make it way more opaque. Thank you. You're welcome, Jazz. See how different that is? It's still not perfect, but it covered it a lot more than it did before. So again, I'm just kind of going along the outsides, doing some little wisps as I go. And I think the key to remember here is like, if anything, add more red than you see, because you can always stack things on top, right? So it might look like my red is very thick and very prominent right now, but as we add more colors, that'll start to cover up. So if anything, I think you want to add more than you think, and then that way you can pile on top and start to layer. The layering is really what brings out the look of the phoenix and the look of this painting, just lots of colors on top of one another. So again, I'm just using the red and kind of doing those little individual wisps of the tail. Going there on the outside edge here. Yeah, see my white is showing through a bit, but I'll cover that a bit with some orange and yellow later. It's all about being patient. So you can see I've covered most of the tail. It's just kind of the very middle I haven't touched, but otherwise very thick on the outsides. Thank you. Sign the 2 for next week. So yeah, I should say that. I'm actually going to stay live after this tutorial, everybody, because I don't have a design for next week yet, for next week's tutorial. I will be doing something on Friday. I just don't have a design created. Hipster, thank you for the raid. Hello! What were you up to today? Hype! Shout out, we all know Hipster, but if you don't, here's a link to his channel. You can check him out. Hydroneer? What's that? Tell me about that. Right, yeah, I'll be staying live after this to design a 2 painting, in case anybody's curious. If anyone wants to help me figure out a design. I have a couple ideas, but I'll be trying to whip something together. I will be trying to mainly paint, but I'll still be chatting. But yeah, it'll be for next Friday, so if anyone's waiting on that, that'll be created tonight, actually, on stream, so feel free to hang out if you want to see it. No worries, but how does the Stay Wet palette work? I don't know. Well, to keep the painting wet, it's more so I think that you're constantly adding water to your brush, and the paint is a little bit more watery. I think that's what it is. Because I've heard it does help with that gray. I've never used it before myself personally, but I think just the idea of constantly adding a little bit of water to the paint or using a wet brush helps with keeping the paint a little more wet and therefore drying a little less. These are fuego, they're gross. Perfect for me, teaching patience. Patience. Wow, you're fine, yeah. Different patience. Lots of patience. Ashdown, welcome in. Hello! I tried a new game, Hydroneer. It was a fun indie game. Yeah, what's it about? You mine and find gems and stuff, and then you sell and buy new equipment. Dang, sounds like my kind of game. This sounds very Stardew. Let's mine and find some gems and trade them in for rewards. Whee! Cool, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Hipster. Must have been still in work mode thinking about patience. I got you when I saw it. I was like, oh, day is over, you're fine. Little like Minecraft kickers, there's no inventory. Oh! Stay Wet palette has a cover over it to keep the air out. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I don't own one. I've just been told about them. Last time I went to Curry's, they were telling me about it. I was like, oh, wow. My eyes were sparkling. I was like, no way. But I don't know. I like my volcano plate, you know? Just classic, so. Okay, I've got the red on here that I want, so now I'm going to move on to a nice orange. So orange is made by mixing yellow and red. So I'm just going to add some yellow to my volcano plate palette. Lots of yellow, actually. Using lots of these colors. I'm mixing red and yellow together. You can mix as much of each color as you like. The more yellow you add, the lighter the orange will be. The more red you add, the darker the orange will be. So if you want a nice fiery orange, you can add more red. Lighter is more yellow. But either way, I would once again recommend adding some white to it. Even though it lightens it up a little bit, it'll make it more opaque. So I'd recommend doing that, or else it's going to be a little bit more transparent. So even if it's a little white, you can keep adding red and yellow to help kind of brighten it up again, but even the small amount of white I find really helps with it. Nice and bright, nice and thick. I'll keep the paint going for a few days, but the drying it on paper, I'm skeptical of things like blending. Right. Yeah, I'd have to try it myself. I think that's the theory, that maybe it helps a little bit with it. But yeah, mainly I think it's what you said, and more so like not drying out on the palette type thing. But I've heard it helps with on canvas too, just minimally. Just water, foam, and paper. I think they're a little more than that. Pretty bird. Thank you! Alright, so I've got my orange. Now what I'm doing is I'm just working further inside the phoenix. So I'm going to leave the red on the very tips of the wings here. But I'm going to continue these little like feather shapes kind of going in and out. I'm just working a little further into the middle. So again, I'm leaving the red alone on the outside, but I'm stacking this orange on top of some of the red so it helps blend. It'll give some layering. And I'm bringing it just a little further in. So once again, I'm trying to keep all these strokes kind of going the same way. So on this left-hand wing, they're all kind of swinging down to the left. So I'm continuing to do that even up in the middle here. Just wisping my brush kind of back and forth, allowing it to go on top of the red. Allowing it to go in new spaces. Let's go a little bit up here. Trying to leave no gaps in between the red and orange. You can see I was going kind of in between there. I'm just working on the other side now. On the right hand wing, I am trying to keep this belly part clean, so I'm not trying to wisp inside the belly. I want to make sure the red is going on top of this wing, so I'm trying to be a little more careful just around the belly area. So just kind of wisping a little lighter, a little more in control. Same idea, just kind of moving into the red, moving a little further up the wing, into the middle of the wing. You can see how it's starting to really fill up here. Stay wet palette is is any container, a layer of sponges, paper towel, piece of wax paper. Ah, the wax to cut smaller, put water container. Oh, there you go. So it's like a make your own. Tagra, thank you for that information. So maybe you can save some money. Try your own. Layer do you put the paints on? I assume on the wax paper on top, but I could be wrong. That's what I'm gathering. Put the paint on the wax crack. Cool. Okay. Nice. Save some money. Make your own. Look at that. That seems right based on how it's been described to me. Maybe like make your own lid and stuff like that. Kind of keep the air out when you're not using it. Cool. Useful. You learn so much in this chat. I love it. It's so resourceful. Okay, so continuing with that orange, I'm going to do maybe a little bit on top of the belly. So you can go on top. I just didn't want you to go on top doing these motions here with this wing. You can kind of use motions that go with the belly. So we're kind of coming down and to the right, or down to the left, excuse me. It comes down, left. Yeah. So just kind of lightly stacking on top. So we're getting some layers of feathers. You can see some red is showing through some oranges there. Just very light on top. If you get a dollar store Tupperware container, it lasts even longer, keeps water from evaporating. Dang! And really just the same thing in the tail, everybody. I'm just going to start kind of brushing again with the motions kind of following the tail. So either out to the left, out to the right, kind of looking more in the middle of the tail now. So filling in those gaps. Wisping a little on top of the red, but allowing some red to show through. And you can add some separate orange areas too, like if you want to add a little wisp of orange over here, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be the exact spots I'm going, just using kind of the tip of the brush, adding some separate wisps, separate curves. There we go. Looking at making it look nice and fiery. I'll stop that now. So I was reading you can wet the back of your canvas to help keep the paint. Oh, really? I have not. Slow dry mediums. Oh, okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I've never used those mediums, but I assumed mediums existed. So things you can mix into the paint and then they stay wet longer. I think that's probably the best solution. I've never tried wetting the back of the canvas. I've only done that when I have a little dent in the canvas. If you ever get a canvas that has like a little dent, it just like looks really pushed in. If you wet the back, it'll tighten it back up again. That's a little trick I use, but otherwise I haven't wet the whole thing before. Man, so resourceful. We're learning so much. Okay, so that's my orange. You can see how it's starting to fill up. It's not quite as bright as the original yet, but that's because we still have yellow to add. That'll be next. We have some golden yellows and then a nice light yellow on top. Psst, psst, psst. Every cat nearby is staring at the stream like, what? So sorry, cats. Says to mist the back. Oh, interesting. Okay, just a little spray. Yeah, I've never tried it, but that kind of makes sense. Especially if it's on the back where it's raw, it's probably staying there a little bit longer. Does she speak the language of the gods? Alright, so third color I'm using is what I would call like a golden yellow color. You can see there's lots of yellow that we stack on top, but there's kind of this golden yellow first, and then what you see right on top of here is more of like a very light buttery yellow. So golden yellow, and then we'll do buttery yellow on top, and then even a little bit of very, very light yellow, almost white. That'll be later. So for now, golden yellow. I'm using the same brush. I'm mixing, you can see lots of yellow kind of bordering onto my orange here. So I want to mix a little bit of red or a little bit of orange in here just to make it more golden color. See that? It's a little bit more gold versus that nice bright yellow. Again, I recommend a little bit of white in there. It'll help with not making it transparent, making it opaque. Tiny mist as it dries. Right. There we go, nice golden yellow. I would say this is probably the main color we use. So even though a lot of our wing is covered up, we're about to stack this on top of the orange and really brighten up the phoenix. Is the reverse of that stuff? You mix it with oil, dry faster. Right. Yeah, I know oil has both ways, dries faster and dries slower too. But exactly for oils, usually you want it to dry faster because otherwise it'll take days. Alright, same idea. A lot of this is the same idea coming up, just kind of stacking on some more layers. We're just kind of working a little further up now, so we want to leave some of the orange so it shows through, but we're kind of brushing a little into it first. And then we'll start to add the golden yellow elsewhere, kind of further up the wing. Oh, so I'm covering up here. I don't want to do quite that. So make sure you're not going right on top of the background. That's what I did there. I want to keep inside the wing, which is right there, so I want that gap. If it helps you to use this golden yellow to help, kind of show where you're going, that's fine, because you can always put the light yellow on top later. But see, this is where it really starts to look nice and bright, nice and fiery. We're getting more blending going on because your golden yellow is probably hitting some wet orange and kind of wisping or blending on top, which is fantastic. So you can see if a little orange kind of seeps up, that's okay. I like how it all mixes personally. I don't like having them so separate. So the idea of doing a little bit of wet on wet is nice in my opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and use this to cover the whole wing for now, and then that way I have my bases covered and I can just pile on the light yellow as a final highlight. So I'm actually going to go all the way up here, do all those little tips there of the wing. Adding a bit more white because I see mine is a little transparent. There we go. But yeah, kind of just, again, wisping in the direction of all your other brush strokes. So wisping down and over. See that? And it's starting to, again, blending a little bit. You can see some orange maybe popping through. You can always add more on top if you don't like that. But I really like that in my opinion, so I'm going to keep that there. You can even brush down a little further, just little delicate strokes on top. Get a little highlight in there, but mostly up top here. Again, I'm just stacking on the paint to get it a little brighter. Where's Gilroy Lockhart? Is that a Harry Potter reference? Oh god. I hope it is. I don't want to mess that up. Simsy, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. I'm pretty sure it's a Harry Potter character, right? Ooh, someone's gonna shoot me. Anyway, I don't know. Where is he? I don't know. A lot of people call that though. Yes, thank God. Okay. A lot of people call that this looked like Order of the Phoenix, like the cover. I thought that was interesting because I did not use that as a reference, but I recognize the cover. I know what people are talking about, and I'm wondering if, like, in my brain, I was kind of, like, channeling that in a way. To reference about the painting. Okay. I'm so original. It's all good. I think it's fair. It really looks like, I know there's multiple covers for the books, but there's one in particular where it really looks like this very fiery phoenix. I didn't end up looking up a photo, but even just from what I remember, I was like, dang, I probably channeled a little bit of it in here, you know? That's how it works. Things kind of stick in our brain, and then when we're creating, I think you kind of pull that stuff out here and there. Whether you know it or not, you know? Based on things you've seen before. So same thing, just going the opposite way, obviously, curving out. Again, I'm going to cover up the whole wing, so I'm just going to carefully go around the beak. I'm going to go up here, get all that done, even though I'm going to add some lighter colors on top. Just going to cover my bases for now. There we go. And same thing down here, just kind of working more in the middle, I would say. I skipped the belly, I'll go back up there. I know it was out of order, but same idea anyway. Just using the tip of the brush, brushing out, lightly, not as much. And again, starting to separate individual wisps, just kind of go in their own way. They can be a little separated from the tail. All just kind of mingling with one another. I really like the tail for that reason. Everything just kind of flows around each other. There's no order to things there. It starts to really flare out a bit. And again, you can mess it up as much as you want if you don't like how defined some of these parts are. Just grab a tiny bit of paint, just kind of wisp it on top. Breaking it up. It's really up to you to do as much or as little of that as you want. But again, mainly keeping the yellow up there. Did you guys know there is an acrylic called interactive paint? You can further manipulate a few hours after paint. No! I say that one with chroma. Ooh. No, I didn't know that. I guess it has some media mixed in. Awesome way to store my paints. 20 plastic lip glass containers. Mix a good amount of color. Screw on lids. Refrigerate them? Whoa! Interesting. 2 weeks. Holy moly. Looking at Blick is about $40. Huh. Yeah, all these little hacks. These are all great. All the acrylic painting hacks. Okay, again, I said I skipped the belly. I'm just going to do that now. Only difference is I think I like to do just little smaller little feathers, just kind of using the tip of my brush and just kind of lightly brushing on top. So rather than doing a thick amount of paint and lots of pressure, just a little paint with the tip of my brush, following the direction of the belly kind of curving out and back in. You can see I kind of keep those a little bit closer to the front where it's a little more highlighted. Maybe lightly bringing it back, but not much. And again, it's going to be with that light buttery yellow where things really pop off. So this is all just kind of blending on top, adding nice layers. Anywhere else? And you could add a little golden yellow if you want, kind of in the flare up here. But mostly I'll be using my nice light buttery yellow for that. Cool. Quick minute and then I'll go right along to that last color there, a nice buttery yellow. It'll help highlight everything. Actually, second last, I do a very, very, very light yellow after, kind of right here. But all this buttery yellow is what I'm going to do next. It really helps kind of frame the top and give some nice individual highlights in here. I'll do the wisps in that color. Back and decide what you want. No worries, Phoenix. Thank you, Canine. Thanks. I really think with the next step it's going to come all together. It's always the highlight. It really makes everything pop off. It looks nice and clean after. So if you're still not a super fan of yours, just give it a couple extra minutes, see how it goes. I'm using the same brush again. If I didn't say before, switch brushes if this isn't working for you. You could try a smaller brush, something a little more tipped, but I'm going to use this pretty much the whole way through. I'll switch to a tiny brush just for the small details later. But for now I'm mixing yellow and white on my plate, so just plain yellow, plain white, nice buttery yellow type color. And again, sometimes after I mix, I wash off the brush just so I can get the shape back. Because mixing really like fattens up the brush, makes it very hard to use. So you can just apply an appropriate amount of paint, keep the nice tip there. All right, so with this color, again, I really look at kind of the tops of the wings. I'm a little more delicate with this one because it is such a bright color. It looks very clean, you know, so you want to make sure you're not doing big, thick, messy strokes. You want to just take your time. So I actually like to use it to kind of outline the top. So I do a nice little wisp like that, just kind of like what we started with the white, just to kind of frame it. And then I kind of curve down from there. So I'm going to start here and just do little curves coming down on top of my golden yellow. Again, it might mix a little, and that's okay. It's a nice little feature to have, a nice blend here and there. Very light, very small. Coming down from that top edge. I like to do even these top edges up here, so you can go up and down, light and wispy. Bring those down a little if you want. And then the other key with this one is I don't just stick to the top. I kind of bring them, I'm going to show you on here. See how they come a little more separated down here? It makes it look like there's some highlights on the very top layer of the feathers. So instead of coming from up here and going all the way down and up, instead I'm going to start down in the middle. I'm just going to do quick little wisps. So they're kind of separated. They just add a nice little layer on top. So you can still see all the orange and all the red through, but it makes it look like there's a new layer without connecting all the way to the top, if that's making sense. It's a little hard to describe, but yeah, starting separately, doing some quick little, very light wisps, just light texture, or light pressure rather. So try not to do very harsh wisps, just little light ones. You can go all the way down if you want. They make them look a little more individual though, I find. That's nice, rather than like sections, you know? Yet you still get all the nice reds and oranges and everything. Just want to cover that a bit more up there. There, now I think, see how layered that looks now? Just with that one extra step, the big difference now. I should also add that I used a round pillowcase container and paint storing. Ah, okay, okay. All these little tools, so neat. Same thing on the other side. Just gonna frame it like that. And then I kind of swing them. So this is a little bit of a tricky part. I kind of swing the other way. So we have the spikes or the feathers going kind of up to the right, and then these kind of swing down to the right. So instead of swinging these all the way down like this, I actually want them to match these feathers down here. So when I bring these down, I kind of swing over down to the right as I go. Just very lightly kind of wisping down to the right, rather than following that shape there. Pill sorter. Oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. It has like the days of the week on it. Yeah, week ones, I'm terrible wording. No, you're good, you're good. Pillowcase container. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. That's why I was like, multi-use. All little tools. Yeah, same thing. You kind of do some separate little wisps as well. Lightly with the tip of your brush, just doing little curves, curving with the shape of the feathers down here. That extra step, man, makes all the difference for this one. There we go, all those beautiful layers, nice and fiery and bright looking now. We can add a little bit in here, just very lightly. You can see how light it is on top of all the other colors, so I really stick to the edge of the belly so we can really see the highlighted edge here. Otherwise, just super lightly going on top, not a whole lot coming into the middle. We want to keep it nice and dark over here. Same with the tail, just small little wisps here and there. Going with the direction of all the other wisps and feathers. You can do longer ones if you wish. Thin, thick, whatever you want. I try and keep these a little bit thinner, I would say, because they are so, so bright. Same round brush. Yep, I've been using the same one for all the colors so far. If anyone feels like it ever gets a little thick, you could switch down to a smaller brush, but I like this one because it holds more paint. I can kind of do more and mess around more as I paint. I don't need to keep reloading every single time. I can do a couple wisps at a time at least. And of course we can go up to the head and do a little bit of work here, so adding a couple more little wispies up here. Filling in any like gaps that we have that we don't like. For example, you could switch to a small brush at this point if you want to use the small brush to kind of highlight the top edge, which I like to do with the butter yellow. And I like to highlight the beak, so I just kind of go around the edge with that light yellow. It helps highlight it a little bit. I'm just using the tip of the brush to do that, but it might be easier to use a small brush. Especially for the eye, you could switch to a teeny tiny brush. That would be way easier. Where's mine? Did it fall somewhere? Where'd it go? It did fall, okay. I'm using this mini brush here. Just adding one little dot for an eye. No other detail needed, just one little dot. I have like 2 more steps left for you, just so you know. So I'll give a quick minute for this. We're gonna go a couple minutes past 10, but just 2 more steps for you. We want to kind of wisp it up and then add that last very, very light kind of white yellow color. Right, so same color here. Okay. So yeah, second last step is kind of just adding the flare. So right now we can see a very clean phoenix, just the phoenix, not a lot else other than the background. But just to kind of fill up some more space, I liked all these little wisps that I did. It made it look a little more fiery, like there's kind of flame kind of coming off of all these areas. So we're using the same color we were just using. It's the nice buttery yellow color. I'll be using the same brush. The only difference is that I want to use it in a dry brushing method. So rather than doing all these like more prominent strokes, I'm just going to now use a tiny bit of paint because I want these to come off very transparent. I'll kind of zoom in to show you. See how you can really see through the paint. It looks very dry and just kind of scraped on. That's what's going to make it look nice and soft and wispy. See, again, it kind of fades away, like as I was stroking up, it just kind of disappeared, right? So that's what we're going to do. So to do that, we're just going to load up our brush with a little bit. We don't want to load it up, that's a bad word. We just want to grab a little bit of this buttery yellow paint, and then we actually immediately want to wipe some of it off. So I have a towel, I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit. So there's not a lot left on here, just tap it off or wipe it off. And then what we do is we go on and we do all our little wisps. So just kind of like using the edges of the wing and just kind of continuing separately. So doing small little curves, kind of going along the shape of the wing. You could do some swirls if you want. So I just very lightly am dragging the tip of my brush with that small amount of paint so it comes off very, very light. Just adding a little more, tapping off, and just adding, again, all these very separated wisps. So I'm not trying to connect to the wing. They're just kind of falling off wherever I feel. I like going at the top of the wing, for example. I like kind of framing things, so maybe framing this head area here, framing the wing here, keeping it all just a little bit separate. I'm going to make my yellow a bit lighter, actually. I want it a little brighter. So just adding more white to it. Try that there. There we go. Let's do another swirl, so just kind of wrapping around. Oh, see, that's a lot brighter. So that was just a brighter yellow I used. I'm gonna do that one again there. Yep. So again, I kind of think of it as framing what I have, just kind of going around your shapes very lightly and just wisping away. Here's some here, just kind of like extending out. Maybe down here by the tail, a nice little swirl. and just barely touching. I'm just kind of scraping the edge of the brush, the tip of the brush, so you can see it looks very textured. So much texture use in this painting. I love it. Let's go like here. And yeah, it'll become a little more prominent in the darker areas, but I like that. It looks really neat. So I'm reloading my brush and just making sure I'm wiping it off every time. Just a minimal amount of paint on there. So yeah, really up to you how much or how little you want to add. I try not to go overboard. So just kind of adding a little bit at a time. You can kind of lean back, see how it's all looking. If you want to fill up more space, fill up more of the background, just keep adding a little bit at a time. Let's do maybe 1 or 2 more up here. So kind of curve in. And more like here or something. There we go. Cool, and you can see how different it is now. It looks a little more like flamey, a little more separated, rather than nice and tight and clean, right? Cool. So I'll give a quick minute and then we've got the last step there. Again, a couple minutes past 10. I thought we'd be done in under 2 hours and look at us go, we're over. That's what always happens. I never predicted quite right. So the last step I'll kind of point at again, I'm going to zoom in to show you too, is just this very, very light version of the butter yellow. So this is, you can see, just a little lighter than our original butter yellow. I just like to use it to frame the belly so it really highlights it. And you can see maybe doing a little wisp here and there of this very, very light white yellow. If you want to add just one more small little layer, see like a couple right there. It just adds one more little layer if you want to add some wisps up here, but mainly I focus on that belly area. That's the whole point of this step here. So I'll keep it here, and you can re-add this color wherever you want as well. But I'm going to switch to a teeny tiny brush for this, and I just use that color and just kind of wisp it on that very edge. So just using my brush and doing small little curves, kind of framing the belly so it looks a little more feathery. So just small curve, small curve, small curve, framing all the way around. And then again, if you want to add maybe 1 or 2 little ones kind of in the wing, it just gives a nice little bright highlight. Kind of like on top of a nice buttery yellow area, just to give it a little extra punch, you know? Only a little. I find it would be a little easier to go overboard on this one, so I really try and just do a couple here and there, and then leave it alone. Trying to see if there's anywhere else specific, but I don't think there was. Like if you want, you could highlight like tops of the wings, for example. It's really a nice thing to experiment with, just trying to see how they look with just a little extra highlight here and there. And again, you can always cover it up if you don't like it, right? So try it. If you don't like it, go back with your yellow, cover it. Maybe a little right there. Yeah. But that is, yeah, technically the last step. So I'll zoom you out just so you can see it all again. I'll keep this right here. I'll keep both right here. You can have a look. And I'm fully available for questions. Alvin, I'm so behind. Oh yeah, take your time. Take your time. Mish calling a night. Sounds good. No worries. Canine beautiful painting. Thank you. Are you sure this isn't Harry Potter? You're so good at painting. It's basically magic. Oh, got him. Good one, hipster. Sure this isn't Harry Potter. I was never a super fan of Harry Potter, so I'm sure, yes. Yeah, I'm gonna hang out, guys, to answer questions, and I'm hanging out even further than that because I'm going to paint a tutorial painting next. I'm not going to teach a tutorial. I'm going to be designing next Friday's tutorial painting. For those who've been watching Facebook, kind of the events and stuff, you'll notice there's not an event posted for next week yet. Usually I like to have it posted by this time. I just ran out of time this week. I was doing other things. So I'm going to design it tonight and post it up for tomorrow. So if you want to hang out and watch me paint that and give me some feedback as I go, that's kind of the whole point of me doing it on Twitch, so I can like chat with people and hang out and get their opinions as I go. Feel free to hang out, or if you want to like keep painting your Phoenix and just hang out with me, feel free. I'm going to keep this up for like 5-10 minutes, make sure you're all taken care of, and then I'm going to switch to a new canvas and start something new.